In a recent interview with a Swedish outlet, Patrik Allvin speaks on big implications going into next season for the Canucks, including Åman's development, Jonathan lekkerimäki becoming a star, and his nomination for GM of the Year. We'll get into this later on this episode. Before we start, I just want to give a huge shout out to the 4,175 of you guys. We're trying to reach 5,000 by the start of September. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be all off season in the next season, giving you updates from everything to do with the Canucks. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is Allvin speaks out on the previous season. Now, we did see Patrik Allvin being nominated for GM of the Year this past season, and he did go on to talk about this. He said, of course, I was happy. It's the league's other general managers who vote. I believe all individual awards come with the team is doing well. It's a team result that drives individually. I'm glad to be a part of the team. The players, coaches, my staff have made it possible for me to be nominated. You can continue on, pause, and read the rest of this. But Patrik Allvin did speak on this. He spoke on a lot of things, including the coaches, how well the players played, how much they went into the season, hungry to make it to the playoffs. But Griffin, what's your thoughts on Allvin just taking this team over and really pushing them into the playoffs, not just himself, but like he said, with the coaches, the players, everything in between. But what's your thoughts on his job as general manager so far?
I think he's done a tremendous job. He's done a great job at bringing in talent on a drafting scale and from a free agency scale and a trade scale, where he's made sure that the core players have the best pieces around him, and he makes sure he's making these cap-friendly deals that are meant to last, or if they're short-term, they're not ones that are going to break the bank. He's learned from a few mistakes that he's made in the past as far as other players, some of them leaving this past offseason, but I think he's done a great job at making sure this team has great chemistry and has great depth all around them, as well as with the assistance of his coaches and the great organization, which he was very humble about, saying that it was nice to be nominated, but having that organization and the coaches and the players and the city behind him and just adds that support is really what helped get him there. And he acknowledges that and he knows that for a fact. And I think it's amazing that he can just say, hey, it's not about me, it's about the team, especially when looking at the other candidates that he was nominated with. I think in time, Patrik Allvin is going to be one of these top GMs in the league that people look to as one of the best, as well as someone that they are going to want to play for as far as other players go. And it's just nice to see that he is one of these Swedish GMs that is not going to be messed around with. He's going to just go after guys. He's going to be a shark. He's not going to play it safe. And I think that's something that's been great for this Vancouver organization. And he is hungry for that Stanley Cup. He said in the end of year media availability that the job isn't done. Yes, it was nice to make the playoffs, but he wants to bring that Stanley Cup home and he wants to go and get it. And I don't blame him for wanting to do that.
And the biggest thing is you see this guy being the first Swedish general manager just coming on, speaking about the fans, speaking about the city, how much it means to him be a part of an organization with Swedish royalty and Henrik and Daniel Sedin. Seeing Patrik Allvin just talk, like you said, he didn't take the full credit. He just spoke about how every part of this team was the reason he was nominated. It shows that it's bigger than just him. He shows that he cares for this team. He wants this team to win. And it is quite nice just to see him be nominated, as I think he did a tremendous job, and I still think he has a lot of better years ahead of him as well. But what's your guys' thoughts on Patrik Allvin just kind of speaking out on his nomination for GM of the Year? What's your thoughts of the way he's constructed this team? Let us know down in the comments, but we'll get straight into the second topic today, which is Åman's development. So with Åman, the biggest thing is we've seen Allvin come out and speak on some Swedish players. As he was in Sweden, he is Swedish, and the outlet asked him these interview questions were Swedish. But he goes on to say, I hope that Åman continues to develop and he has a good summer. In the last few months of the last season, he started to assert himself more and wasn't just too nice on the ice. He was very well liked and respected within the group. Additionally, he can play in both the center and on the wing. It's important to have players who can play in two different positions. So the biggest thing is he's kind of pumping this guy's tires, saying you can use him within the lineup. You can use him at a center, maybe on the fourth line, the third line. You can put him on the wing. Åman can play within this lineup in multiple different spots. He does a lot of things, including putting up some points. We see in 43 games, 3 goals, 4 assists for 7 points, 28 shots, but it doesn't stop there. We've seen him dominate in the AHL when he played with the Abbotsford Canucks. In 15 games, he had 15 points, 8 goals, 7 assists. And Griffin, what's your thoughts on a guy that was a former 6th-round pick for the Colorado Avalanche, making a name for himself to the point that the general manager is hyping him up, just talking about him? Do you think Åman could have a season where he finds himself a regular in this lineup?
I think eventually he'll get there. I think it's maybe 1 or 2 more seasons away. We did see him get that postseason experience where Vancouver had that next man up. They needed somebody to make that step up for the postseason. He was one of those guys that they brought in, and he did play fairly well. He was a bit out of his depth as far as just a skill matter, just because you're playing against teams like the Edmonton Oilers where they're top tier talent all around. So he did need to adjust his game a bit more for that, and does definitely needs to refine some tools going into next season. But with those 43 games, Vancouver didn't show anything flashy, but then goes down to Abbotsford, where he really has some nice production there. And it's nice to see that has the stages set for him to build on that, especially with Manny Malhotra as the coach. I think Manny's going to do a great job with the Abbotsford team, and they're really going to do some fantastic things. And he's going to make sure he can do whatever he can possible to make sure these guys are NHL ready when they're able to make that jump.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is depth is something that's going to win the Canucks games when they get into the postseason. Every team's dealing with injury, so having him on, a guy that can slide in, be your fourth line center, be your third line center, maybe playing on the wing on the second line in an absolute pinch. This is a guy that's going to show value. I do think he'll get, once again, roughly 40 to 60 games. We've seen him get 43. Previous to that, he had 68 games. I think he's going to be in this range. I don't think he'll get the full 82 games with the talent they have, but having these guys you can fit within this lineup is a huge part of a postseason run. What's your guys' thoughts on him on? Do you want to see him as a full-time player in this Canucks lineup? Would you rather see him bounce in when injuries happen? Let us know down in the comments, and we'll get straight into the third topic, which is Jonathan Lekkerimäki is very talented. And yes, you're probably thinking, Mark, we understand you think he's very talented, but this is not coming from my mouth. This is coming from Patrik Allvin. It's going to be exciting. Jonathan Lekkerimäki was here and show what he could do in the farm team during the spring. He did very well. I hoped he got an understanding of what's required on smaller rinks. It'd be interesting to see him at camp when everything kicks off. After that, it's up to him where he will end up. But we're very happy to have Jonathan Lekkerimäki here and to continue working with him. He's a very talented player. Once again, this is not me saying this. This is Patrik Allvin. He continues on saying we need to respect his age and experience as well. So there's no rush when he is physically and mentally ready. Jonathan will show where he wants to be. This is a big thing, and it's kind of leaving an open door on a guy like Jonathan Lekkerimäki to maybe make a battle coming out of camp to make this Canucks team. The biggest thing, like Patrik Allvin said, there's no rush. It's when he's physically and mentally ready. If Jonathan Lekkerimäki comes in and dominates in the preseason, it's going to be hard to give the team a reason not to put him within this lineup. But Griffin, what's your thoughts on him just giving high praise to the Canucks' top prospect?
It's nice that he is giving that praise to the golden goose of the draft picks that they have. He's definitely the most coveted. He's definitely someone that, like you, he is very much high on and thinks that he's going to do amazing things. I don't doubt that either. I think he's going to be a Vancouver star when he is able to make that jump. But it is nice to see that he's not willing to rush him yet. He wants to make sure that he is ready. There is some adjustments he has to make as far as coming over to the North American side. Let him work with Manny a little bit. Let him work within this system. Let him just get that experience that he needs on North American ice so that he is able to make that jump to the NHL when ready. It's just when that is going to happen. I don't know exactly when, but we could definitely see him on Vancouver this season. I think there's a good chance of that, but I think as far as a regular appearance on this roster, I think we'll probably look into the season after this upcoming one for that to happen after a full season in Abbotsford, especially playing with these top Abbotsford guys that we're going to see play over the course of the season. I think they're going to do a great job in the AHL alone, like I said earlier. So it's going to be nice to see how he meshes with those guys versus bringing that to a Vancouver team where he's going to have some Swedish players he can already fit in with. So that helps from a chemistry standpoint. So I think it's going to be nice to see when he's able to make that jump. It's just a matter of when, and it's nice to see that they aren't willing to rush him into that.
And the biggest thing is I could see him almost having an Archdeep Bain season where he comes up, makes the jump from the AHL to get a couple of games in throughout the season. We've seen Jonathan Lekkerimäki dominate each level. 46 games with Arbro HK in the Swedish Hockey League, 31 points, 19 goals, 12 assists. 1 assist in 3 playoff games. This was a guy dominating a men's league at the age of 19. Former 15th overall pick. We've seen him jump into the AHL where he had 2 points in 6 games. Jonathan Lekkerimäki is going to be special. I know you guys hear me say it constantly. But what's your guys' thoughts on maybe his potential? Do you think he makes it out of camp? Would you rather see him have an Archdeep Baines type season where he dominates in the AHL, makes the jump up for a couple games just to get the taste of it, to get hungry to make the NHL again? Let us know down in the comments. And speaking on comments, we'll get in everyone's favorite topic. Sorry about that, which is comment of the day. Comment today comes from Saltmoon5. He says, is Mark an AI? Where is he? No, I'm not an AI. Yes, I did get an an update where I don't have a hat anymore. I'm going to be honest, I've been on vacation and I don't quite know where my Canucks hat is. It's somewhere in my house. But no, I'm not an AI and I am back. I was in Montreal for a music festival for about a week and a half. But if you guys enjoy this episode, make sure to go down and leave a comment. You can leave a comment like Saltworm did today, and you could be featured on the next episode of Canucks Digest as comment of the day. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. And with that, I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Griffin. Take care.